Hey everyone, and welcome back to Board on a Shelf. I'm Paul,
I'm Antonio.
and we're so glad you're here to join us for these last 10 games that we played, ranked in order.
Alright, so the format for this one is going to be a little different than it was last time. We're going to try and just avoid, crossovers, so we don't have to describe a game twice. So instead, I randomly sorted the last 10 games that we played, and we're going to count down from 3, show our fingers to show where it ranks from 1 to 10 for each of us. So we'll just go over the game, describe what it is, 1, 2, 3, boom, and we will talk about it and place it on our list, which will pop up on the screen so you'll be able to look at where our games are currently on our lists. Alright, the first game we're going to be talking about is Massive Darkness 2 Hellscape. Yes, that is a cooperative dungeon crawling game with these gigantic miniatures. You and a group of friends are going to be, or just you actually, you can play as 2 players, but you and a group of friends are going to be crawling through a dungeon, unlocking doors, kicking down doors, picking up loot, rolling a bunch of dice, fighting bad guys, mobs of bad people. It's really great. Thematically, you are a group of heavenly people trained to fight in the darkness, and you're journeying into hell to do something. It depends on what you're doing in that specific quest, but you're basically trying to fight bad guys and not die and do something specific. Like the last one we played, you were trying to destroy relics with a sword. So at the beginning of the game, you're going to each choose a character, and that's either a wizard, a paladin, a rogue, a ranger, berserker.
Sorcerer? Too? No.
Shaman.
That's right.
Yeah, so you're choosing different characters, and each of them play very differently. So the cool thing is throughout the dungeon, you're leveling up, you're getting new gear, you're getting new spells, you're getting new abilities, and you get to choose a path. So it's like a path tree, very similar to like how you imagine a video game. You choose a specialty, you level up those specialties, and you just follow a different path for each character. So one game, the wizard could be a frost wizard, and the next one it can be a flame wizard. One game, the rogue can be very sneaky, the other game it can be a poisonous rogue. You know, so you can just choose all of these different things, and it's really not that hard. It sounds like a lot, but it's easy. As long as you have somebody who knows how to play the game and knows how to teach it well, it goes really quickly. Well, the learn goes really quickly. It's a long game. We played 4 players, and we played for like almost 4 hours.
Yes.
I would say it's like an hour a player.
Be prepared.
Yeah. Okay, that's Massive Darkness 2. Where did you rank it? Oh no, wait, that's Massive Darkness 2. On the count of 3, we are going to hold up a number as to where you ranked it. Are you ready?
Ready.
1, 2, 3, boom!
Ooh.
Oh, that's pretty close.
That was good.
Okay, so we basically both feel the same way.
Yeah.
Right, okay, so for me, it's gonna go in the 3rd slot.
And I've got it in 2nd, because I did really enjoy it. I think the reason why it's so high up there is because of how much fun we had playing it.
Yeah.
We really did. It felt like I was making memories while I was sitting there, and it's not hard to learn, like Antonio said. And we're just sitting there kicking doors, kicking bad guys.
Yeah. Just rolling a ton of dice. And everyone's just like, whenever it's your turn, you're just rolling a bunch of dice. And even if it's not your turn, you're looking at the person rolling a bunch of dice. And it's just great. Everything you kill gives you loot, gives you money. It's awesome.
Yeah, you're always excited to see what you're gonna get. And then I love those minis.
Yeah, the minis are really nice. It also doesn't help that we got a game recently that has really bad minis. So these minis are just like glorious. Simon games.
Yes.
Or come on. I don't know. Say what you will.
Come on.
Yeah. Alright, that's Massive Darkness 2, my number 3. No.
Number 2.
Oh, you rated it higher than me.
I did.
Wow, that's crazy. Okay. Alright, moving on to the next game on the list, we have Ankh, Gods of Egypt. Actually, it's the same company as Massive Darkness 2, so the minis are also great, and it's also in a gigantic box.
We're fans.
Yeah, we're fans. But the production is insane, but it does help you get into it. You know, I was actually saying that about Ankh, that if the minis weren't as cool, it would feel very boring.
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain it. It's the factor of the toys. It's nice.
No action figures. Just kidding.
Ankh is a 2 to 4 player game where you are just gods, Egyptian gods, on a map, fighting for control, playing cards in combat, moving around. It's It's just a war game, but it's more abstracted than most war games. There's not dice. It's just gods on a map trying to not be forgotten by the people of Egypt. The really cool part about this game is how you choose your action. There's 4 actions. There is move, there is summon figures, there is gain followers, and there is unlock Ankh powers. And every time somebody chooses an action, it moves forward on this track that gets closer to triggering an event. Those events can be a bunch of different things, which is controlling monuments, which is the main way to score victory points. It can trigger combat. You can divide up the map to make certain areas more powerful, certain areas weaker. There's a lot of things that go on in this game, but ultimately it comes down to just doing 4 things in the order in which you do those 4 things. Yeah, that's Ankh, Gods of Egypt. You have anything else to say?
No, we do have an expansion for that one.
Oh yeah, we do have an expansion. There's quite a few expansions. I got the one that gives you more gods, so it's just more characters to play with. Each god plays a little differently, but it's nothing major. It's just like, oh, they have this specific power. It's nothing like game changing. Well, yeah, not really. The game doesn't change because of the god you choose. It's not that asymmetric, but you do have a little bit of an ability. All right, count of 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Oh my gosh.
This is exciting.
Oh,
It's just so exciting.
Yeah, because both of these games I thought I liked more than you.
Oh, there you go. I'm just kidding. I like it. We've played it at 2 and with multiplayers before.
3, yeah.
And they're totally different. Or they feel totally different because of what happens when you have more than 2 players.
Right.
The catch-up mechanism.
Yeah.
Or catch-up, depending on where you're from.
Right. There's a rule if you're playing with more than 2 players called the merge rule, and in it, at a certain point in the game, you'll hit a milestone where the last 2 players, the last 2 being the furthest down on the score track, so the 2 players that are losing the game the most, will join into 1 player, and they will play the game together as a team. Which, I still don't know how I feel about it. I think, like, I understand, I'm happy that they did something different, but it wasn't great. I don't know, especially playing at 3 players. It was like we were all 3 playing against each other, and then all of a sudden, it was just one person, like, really alone. Paul and I merged, and we were... It got a little interesting. I enjoyed it a lot more at 2 players. Like, a lot more. It felt more like chess to me. There wasn't that looming thing of like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to merge with somebody. And also, it's important to know that you merge with the lower player. So like, if the scores, like somebody's up here, somebody's in 2nd place right below them, and then somebody's in 3rd place way down here, the person in the middle drops their score down.
I was losing. No, I do like it 2 more. I think...
Yeah.
I think I do enjoy it more at 2. I wasn't sure how I felt about it when we first played it.
Right.
But the second time we played it, or that I played it, was just the 2 of us, and I did like that 2-player version. And when you move your god around, they're so huge on the map. You just feel so powerful.
They're ridiculously large. It's so funny.
But also really cool, just like the ones in Massive Darkness.
Yep, well that's Ankh, Gods of Egypt. Going on to the next game, we have Bora Bora. Bora Bora is a game by Stefan Feld. It is old and it is out of print, but it is a Euro game where you are rolling dice and choosing actions with those dice. So at the bottom of the board, there's all the actions you can do. I'm not going to teach you how to play the game. It's kind of complicated, but the actions are like relatively simple. But you're rolling these dice, you're placing them on these actions, and you're taking that action, trying to get the most victory points. It's also a point salad game, so you get points from everything. But the mean part of this game, and this game is mean, like, it's not even like casually mean, it's just mean. When you put a die onto an action space, those are the same action spaces that everyone else is using. And once you put a die there, the next dice that are placed there have to be lower than that die. So if you put a 5 there, the next players, like the person who wants to use that action next, can only put a die 1 through 4. If somebody puts a 1 there, that's it. Nobody can place any dice there. But there is benefits to putting the higher numbers. Like, normally a 6 will let you do more things. You're not going to just put a 1 unless you're, like, specifically trying to be mean, because you'll try to put your higher numbers first most of the time. Yeah. There are also some cards in there that let you change those rules a little bit. But yeah, Bora Bora, it's a very simple dice placement game that's kind of mean. There's a lot of different paths to win. Yeah, when we played it with my parents, and the 4 of us all went very different routes. Mm-hmm. One nice thing about the game is there are these little tasks that you have to fulfill at the end of each round, and those give at least new players direction as to what to do. Yeah, so like you're like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. Well, just go for this, because that's the task you were given this round. So just go for this, but it's nice. All right, are you ready?
Ready.
Bora Bora. 1, 2, 3, boom. Oh my gosh.
This is where we switched.
Okay.
Yours is higher.
Yeah. I thought it was going to be at the bottom of your list.
I can see why you would think that.
Well, yeah, I guess what made you decide?
So I put it up there for its simplicity. Now, I know that sounds strange, because when you look at it, you're like, oh my gosh. Even I look at it like a third time, and I'm like, geez, what is all of this on this board?
Right, it's very ugly, but very pretty at the same time.
Yeah.
It's just really
There's no theme really for you.
No.
But that's what makes it simple too. You're just you're choosing actions, and I do like the point salad aspect. Mm-hmm. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is gonna give me a lot of points right here. And so it's that part is really fun. I like that the first player marker, or the first player, changes depending on if you choose to invest in that.
Right.
And
like I was saying earlier, being first is really important, because people could block you out of spaces really quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you can't just focus on that, because you're not going to get points otherwise.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really good. There's just so many paths you can take. And I know I kind of talked it down maybe a little bit, but it's my number 2, and I really like it. I want to play it all the time, because like most Hero games, it's like, okay, I have to learn this whole game. But there's 6 different components you just have to teach. You're like, okay, this is how this works, this is how this works, this is how this works, this is how this works. You're ready to play. And after you're in it, once you've done the first round, there's 6 rounds. Yes. Yeah. There's 6 rounds. And after you've done your first round, it already starts making sense. You're like, oh, okay. So you just keep on playing. And it's really good. It's simple, and it's really good. And I was nervous to show this to my parents, because it's a dry Euro game. There's nothing particularly interesting about it, except the dice. People love rolling dice. Mm-hmm. So I was like, you roll dice, and here are the rules about the dice. But they really liked it.
Yeah, they did.
They really liked it a lot, and I was so happy, because I really like it. Anyways, that's Bora Bora. The next game we are going to talk about is Night of the Ninja. Yes. Night of the Ninja is a very easy social deduction game. A lot of rounds, but you're basically split up into 2 houses, and throughout the course of the game, you start calling cards in order. There's different phases that you go through. You start calling those cards out in order. People play them, and with those cards, you get to find out who people are. You can kill people. You can switch people's cards. But the concept is you are on 2 teams. You want your team to have the highest ranking person alive at the end of the night. Mm-hmm. So on the red team, if you're playing with 6 players, there's a red 3, red 2, red 1. And on the white team, a white 3, white 2, white 1. 1 being the highest ranking person. So people can die, but you really want to keep your 1 alive. So if you're on the white team and you're the white 3, you're disposable. You want people to think you're the number 1, so they kill you, so you can protect your number 1 to stay alive. It's really good. We played it with my family twice, actually. Mm-hmm. We played it twice, and it worked with 8 people, right? Yeah, 8 people. So it's a good game to play with a large group of people who aren't necessarily familiar with games. That's Night of the Ninja. What did you rank it? Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Double hands. Ooh! I was like, my double hand is coming out.
Yeah.
It's not a bad game. It's not a bad game.
No, it's really good.
It is 10. It's very interactive, which I like a lot. Super fun for new players, just like party. But it is on the bottom just because I guess I'm not always going to want to play it.
Yeah, we played it 2 times with big groups, 2 nights in a row. And I'm good for a while.
Yeah.
I'm good for a while.
It's not something to get rid of, but yeah, good for a while.
Right. Yeah, I think it's not going anywhere in my collection anytime soon. I don't know about forever,
Yeah.
but anytime soon. But yeah, that's our number 10, Night of the Ninja. Alright, the next game we're talking about is Moonrakers Titan Edition, which is the Moonrakers box with all the expansions and space for more expansions. It is a deck building negotiation game. There's kind of a lot to go into about how it works, so I'm not going to go into everything. But basically, you are building a deck and you're building a ship, and you are trying to be the first one to 10 points. So you do that by going on missions, but you cannot, or I guess they're called contracts, you cannot go on those contracts without the help of other people most of the time. So you are playing cards with people that you're competing with, trying to complete this mission together. So you're negotiating like, okay, I'll give you a point, but I get to keep the 3 coins. Or there are these things called hazard dice, which are part of the contracts, and if you're going on this mission, there's going to be dangerous things, so somebody has to roll these dice, which can lose you points. And it's only a race to 10 points, so losing 1 point can be detrimental. The game is really just about working with people, making alliances. You can betray people, but if you do, they might not trust you again, and you need them to, probably. So that's Moonrakers Titan Edition. We didn't play with any of the expansions, so this is really just Moonrakers. I'm excited to play the expansions. 1, 2, 3. Oh my gosh.
This one's big.
Okay, so can I go first? I was so excited about this game. It was my Christmas present to myself, and it's not cheap. It's a big game. Like, it's expensive, and I was really excited for it. It's sci-fi, the art is beautiful, deck building is like one of my favorite mechanisms. I recently played Waterfall Park, which is a negotiation game, and I really liked it. And this game didn't quite do it for me as much as I wanted it to. So I think a lot of this is expectations. My expectations were really, really high, and it wasn't as high as I wanted it to be. It wasn't as great as I wanted it to be, but it wasn't nearly as bad as it could have been. Because the negotiation game is hard, and it disappointed me a little bit, but it's still a good game and I want to play it again.
I put it up there because I didn't have as high expectations, right? It was really pretty. I love the boards. I was a little disappointed, even in some of the components. But the negotiation I did really enjoy. It was fun. You can't really get away with having too many points because everyone's going to see it and they'll kind of take you back. You have secret missions that give you a point here and there, but that's not going to win you the game. So
yeah,
a lot of people, you're probably going to all go up the track together most games. And so it can take a while, but I still like the negotiation, and I am looking forward to the expansions and what they have.
Yeah, I think I'd recommend to play this one. I think you guys should play it. I don't know if you need to buy it. Play it and see if you should buy it, because if you like it, you're gonna love it.
Yeah.
The next game is High Society. High Society is a game by Rainer Knizia. It is a card auction game. It's very simple. You're just flipping cards over and you're betting from your hand. So your hand has a bunch of money in it. The denominations are interesting, which makes the game strategic. But basically, the card flips out. The first person bids or passes. The next person has to bid higher or pass. And it goes around until somebody has bid enough and everyone else passes. So once somebody has outbid everybody else, they take that card. And you'll score points. Sometimes you'll double your points. There are bad cards, which in that case, the first person to pass takes the bad card. But it's really good. You're just trying to get the most points. It's super simple, but super crunchy. Yeah. All right. High Society. Ready?
Ready.
1, 2, 3. 6 and 7. Close. Yeah. Yeah. It's really good. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. I don't know what it is that I find stressful about it. I get really stressed out. We played it with our friends Alex and Nathan, and I was stressed. I think, did I win? Did we tie?
We tied.
We tied. Right. It was good. It's very fun. It's super quick. 15 minutes, maybe. But yeah, it's just a good money game. If you like games about money and about auctioning and about reading the table, maybe a little bit of bluffing. There's an interesting rule in it where if you spend the most money at the end of the game, it doesn't matter how much points you have. You lost.
No one likes you.
No.
You're poor.
Yeah, I'm just kidding. Actually, that's like literally what it says. Like, even posing as a rich person, you're done. Yeah, it's weird. Like, people who don't understand board games understand money. So, like, if you're just like, oh, this is just money, you don't want to spend too much. They're like, oh, got it. You know, you want to take other people's money. It's like how poker sometimes it feels like that.
Super fun. I would recommend playing that.
Yep, that is high society. The next game we're going to talk about is Mobile Markets, a smartphone ink game. This is a card game based on the large board game Smartphone Inc. Pure economy game, kind of like Money, like we were talking about with high society, but like macroeconomics. It's like you're dealing with like industries. It's just the money's a little different. You're trying to sell to certain customers. You're trying to undersell your competitors. So right, in the game, you are one company, the people you're playing with are other companies, and you are trying to build phones that appeal to different customers. So this customer, he won't spend more than $2 on a phone. Maybe it's 200. I don't know. It's in the game. It's 2. He won't spend more than $2 on a phone. But if it has Bluetooth, he will. You know, it's just like weird. So you're trying to build phones to cater to certain customers, but the turn order is based off of how you price your phones. So if you price your phone really cheap, you're going to make less money on it, but you'll probably be able to sell more. And you'll go before the people who price their phone really high. It's all the strategy is very complicated. Honestly, it's not the most intuitive game, but I will admit when I'm playing it, I feel like I'm running a business.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna undercut this guy.
Yeah, they did do good at that.
They did. All right, are you ready?
Yes.
Right. 1, 2, 3, 8, 9.
So, Mobile Markets, I enjoy it when I'm playing it. I don't always think that I want to play it again. But when I'm playing it, I do enjoy it. That one is one of the ones that I may get a little stressed on, because I can find myself really far behind after someone has a good round, and then I start to worry. So that one kind of stresses me out, but it is a really good game.
Yeah, it does a really good job at being thematic.
Yes.
You feel like you're running a business. So if you're like interested in that at all, you should definitely check it out. I really liked Smartphone Inc., the big game, which has now left my collection. The reason it left is because of this game, actually. Smartphone Inc., you have to play with 5 players. Basically, 5 players. Yeah, it's one of those things where maybe, I don't know, you play it and you're good for a while. I don't feel like I'm going to get rid of it. It's good, but...
Yeah, I never played smartphone, but I do enjoy this one.
That is Mobile Markets, a smartphone game. Alright, the next game we're going to talk about is Fuji Flush.
Fuji Flush.
Fuji Flush is a card game where you're trying to get rid of all the cards in your hand. The cards in the deck range from 2 to 20, and you're trying to play the highest card so that nobody can play a card higher than you in the circle. So once you play that, if it gets back to you and nobody can beat your card, then you get to discard that card, and you're now 1 card less in your hand. The one fun thing is that it can be a little bit cooperative, because if you play a card, like say I played a 2, that's a really low card, but the person next to me can also play a 2, and now together we are playing with a 4, and now somebody has to beat a 4. The person after that, they play a 5, our 2s are flushed, because 5 beats a 4. So it's just that kind of game. It's very quick, it's kind of hard to describe in words. It's very fun, very easy to pick up. You're just playing cards, it's so quick. Yeah, Fuji Flush is good. My cousin who we played it with, both of them, they're just every time they lose, even if they win, they're just like, run it back. Let's do it again. So we keep on playing it. We played it for hours probably.
Yeah.
Like it's just addicting. It's a really simple card game. It's less complicated than Uno, I would say.
Yeah.
There's no special powers. You're just playing cards, trying to get rid of them all. Not a game that I thought I would like as much as I did. You ready?
Yes.
All right, Fuji Flush. 1, 2, 3. Oh man.
I'm sorry, Fuji Flush.
I mean, yeah.
No, it's so addicting, and I really do enjoy it. I think it's only down there for simplicity. That's it. That's really it. I love it though. I will play it. I have played it for hours on end, and I will do it again, gladly.
Yeah, I think that's maybe something you should know about us. We are kind of board game schnobs, you know? So we like games that have more depth most of the time, you know, like we like to sit there and like really appreciate a game design, and it's a little harder to do that with such a small game. Not all the time. I mean, like Sea Salt and Paper is amazing. That's an example of a small game that we really like. But this one, like I said, it's Uno-esque, so it's great.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's not amazing.
Yeah, I think more people should play it.
Yeah, I do think it should be like in Target. Like, I really think families would really like this game. That's Fuji Flush. There are 2 more games left. This next game is The Lost Ruins of Arnak, which is a great game. It's no secret that I love this game. I recently got a folded space insert for it to make it all pretty. It's organized nicely, and once it's organized nicely, I want to get it out more often. Anyways, that's gonna maybe be a spoiler. In Lost Ruins of Arnak, you are basically placing workers on this board. It's very like Indiana Jones Island. What is he called? What is he? What is Indiana Jones?
An archaeologist.
It's very archaeologist-y. It's you're exploring different sites, you're excavating, you're climbing up trees, not trees, tech trees. You can't climb up trees, I guess. Not in the board game, but in life. You're climbing up tech trees, you're doing research, you're fighting off giant monsters. The artwork is just so beautiful. I'm getting into how much I like this game. You're in the game, you have workers that you're trying to place on the board, but you're placing those workers with a deck building mechanic. So there are cards that you're getting throughout the game that you're building a deck from, and you're using those cards to place workers on the board. And every action you do, you have to play a card from your hand. Whether that's placing a worker on the board, whether that's moving up the research track, whether that's... Do you have to do that to fight a guardian? I guess not every action. Most actions you do, you have to play a card with. So that deck building mechanic is really intertwined with the worker mechanic. The cool thing about it is it's a very resource management heavy game. So there are 5 resources, and there's a very clear ladder to which ones are rarer than others. So a lot of the game is about like, okay, I have these resources, how can I turn these resources into these resources to complete this objective or to place my worker here? It's so puzzly and the resources are so tight, you never feel like you have enough.
Nope.
Never. You never feel like you have enough, and you always have to figure out how to get more. So the whole game, you just feel very poor.
Yeah.
You're very resource poor. Sometimes you're not though, and you feel like you're on top of the world, but then you just become resource poor like immediately after. But yeah, that's Lost Ruins of Arnak. We played it with the Expedition Leaders expansion, which gives your players asymmetric abilities. I don't think it's a necessary expansion, but because I've played the game so much, I won't play without it. It just adds another element to the game that makes it a lot more replayable.
Yeah.
Alright, that's Lost Ruins of Arnak. You ready?
I'm ready.
1, 2, 3. Oh man. That breaks my heart. Lost Ruins of Arnak is one of my favorite games of all time, so I'm sure to you it was no surprise that it was at least high. Maybe you didn't know number 1.
Right.
But like I knew right after we played it, I was like, yeah, this game's still one of my favorite games of all time. It's going to be number 1. It's so good. Everything about it is so puzzly. It's also a Euro game that's so thematic. Like you feel like you're fighting monsters, you feel like you're exploring new things, you feel like you're competing with people. Like it's so good. It's really good, and you can get it in a lot of stores. It's not hard to find, so I highly recommend playing it if you haven't.
Yeah, all great points. Yeah. I can't convince you otherwise, but for me, I haven't played it as much. And you said it was really puzzly. It is. I do have a hard time figuring out what exactly to do and what's worth it, what's not, and I find myself very resource poor a lot of the times. And I just feel like I can't get what I want. And so I probably just haven't figured out the trick to it yet, and that is why it was a little bit lower. But I will say, I do feel like an archaeologist / explorer climbing up tech trees.
Or trees.
I do that on my own time.
Right.
So that is why I had to put it a little bit lower. Actually, a lot bit lower.
A lot of it lower.
But it may change in the future, so stay tuned.
So that means you put Moonrakers above this, right?
I did.
Wow.
And I am.
That actually makes me that makes me happier because I want somebody to like Moonrakers. And I want it to be me. Okay. All right. That's Lost Ruins of Arnak, which leaves this last game and our last remaining spots. This is Ark Nova with the new Marine Worlds expansion. So you already know where the spot goes, but ready? 1, 2, 3. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ark Nova's amazing.
I love the game so much.
Yeah. You're building a zoo.
I feel like a dang zoo builder in this game.
Yeah.
You feel like an archaeologist in Arnak. You feel like a zookeeper / zoo builder in this one.
You are a zoo.
That's true.
You're
the zoo.
Yeah.
There's so many cards to this game. I love how many animals there are.
Yeah.
You get 5 actions, and they go up this track. Every time you use it, you move the one that you use down to slot 1, and that's how you're managing it. From 1 to 5, 5 gives you the most power of that card, and you can upgrade those cards. But you're collecting animals, you're collecting sponsorships for your zoo, and you're building little enclosures for your animals, and you're just trying to find what works the best for your zoo, get the most points. And this marine expansion that we played, it added fish, a lot of sea creatures. No, the fact that it added what it added, just more cards, I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
You can't get through all of those cards, there's so many. And I put it at my top because I do want to play it again and again.
Kind of all the time.
I know.
I
bring that one
all
up
the
a
time.
lot. I even played through a massive headache the last time we played it.
Yeah, I was like, do I want to put it away? And he was like, no. Okay.
So I really enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to our video about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really like Ark Nova. It's really good. I mean, you're just building a zoo however you want to, and there's a little bit of luck with the cards you draw, of course,
Right.
Which is probably why it's not as high for me. He said there was a lot of cards, and there are a lot of cards. So if there's a card you're looking for, there's a lot of
That
cards.
can be very frustrating.
So you're probably not going to find it. However, the expansion does fix that.
It does.
A little bit.
It helps.
But it's really good. It's just fun. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna make a monkey zoo or a primate zoo this time. I'm gonna do that. And now in this expansion, I'm gonna make a water zoo, aka an aquarium. But it's really good. Yeah, I knew it was gonna be on your number 1 after we played it. I just knew it. I was like, I don't see how any game. I'm honestly starting to feel like I don't know if there's any game ever that's going to beat this game for you. We'll see. But those are the last 10 games that we played ranked. So once again, here is our final list. Pretty similar. Not too surprising. I think I expected like Fuji Flush, Night of the Ninja to be at the bottom. I was really surprised. I don't know what you were surprised about on your own list, but for me, I was really surprised with how low Mobile Markets ended up being. I was so excited to buy that game, and I also really enjoyed playing it. But afterwards, maybe I need to play it again, but afterwards looking back, I was like, am I really gonna put this below Fuji Flush? And I did. I did. Yeah, I did. What about you?
I think it was interesting to see Massive Darkness go up. I know the first time I played it, I wasn't super hyped on it, just because I'm not used to dungeon crawlers.
Right.
But the memories that we made on the last play, I really got into it. Plus, I think the first time we played like the beginner's map, and so it was kind of hard. It was a little bit weird. Or it was hard for me to understand
what we were doing.
Yeah, to be fully encompassed in the game. And so after these last few plays, and especially the last one, I did have a lot of fun, and time flew by.
Anyways, thank you for watching. This has been a ranking of the last 10 games that we played. We did the format a little differently this time, so let us know if you like it. We think it's a little easier. But yeah, thanks for watching. I'm Antonio.
I'm Paul.
Bye.
Bye.